Hey everyone, Entertainment Weekly just gave us our first look at Brie Larson as Captain Marvel. The superhero is teased in the epic end credits Avengers scene. And we'll get new details when the actual issue is released, but until then, let's scour every single bit of this article for new clues. First, a little bit of backstory. Captain Marvel's real name is Carol Danvers. In the comics, she was an Air Force pilot and head of security at a secret Air Force base where she met the undercover Kree warrior mar-vell. The Kree are the blue aliens who were featured in Guardians of the Galaxy and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Captain mar-vell later rebelled against the Kree Empire and became a superhero. After he saved Carol from an explosion, his Kree DNA was fused with hers and she obtained superpowers. Years later, mar-vell died of cancer and Carol took on the name for herself. That's a pretty intricate origin. But, according to the article, we don't get to see it. The article reads, quote, Captain Marvel sidesteps the traditional origin story template, and when it begins, Carol already has her powers. So now it seems like we're going to launch right into it with Carol kicking ass in space. And this is something of a break from the rest of the MCU. The only films so far to skip the origin story are Spider-Man Homecoming and The Incredible Hulk because audiences already saw those origins just like a couple years before the movie came out. But there are some indications that we're going to see some kind of origin story in this film. Entertainment Weekly revealed this photo of Carol Danvers sitting in the cockpit of a fighter jet, and this one of Lashana Lynch as Maria Rambeau. Maria also takes on the name Captain Marvel in the comics. She goes by the call sign Photon, which is a callback to her light powers in the comic books. But there's also reports of a carnival scene that she filmed with Samuel L. Jackson at the Jim Hall Racing Club in California that say that this scene is going to take place in the year 1986, a full 5 years before Captain Marvel takes place according to the official synopsis. If these Air Force scenes do take place in 1986, then it's kind of a neat nod to a film that came out that year, Top Gun. Now in this video, we're going to be discussing some leaked set photos, but for legal reasons, we're not going to show them. So instead, please accept our intern's artistic renderings. There's also been a leaked set photo of Brie Larson wearing an Appetite for Destruction t-shirt. Now, this album came out in 1987, not 1986. And it could be that Carol Danvers or Brie Larson are just huge fans of GNR, or it could be an indication of a late 80s flashback setting. The article goes on to say, she's left her earthly life behind to join an elite Kree military team called Star Force, led by Jude Law's enigmatic commander. Jude Law is playing Captain Mar-vell, but it sounds like he won't be a superhero like his comic book counterpart. But he will be a mentor figure to Carol, which is too bad for him because we've seen what the MCU does to its mentor figures. But who the heck are Star Force? They're an elite team of superpowered Kree who are like the special forces for the Empire. In this still, you can see Captain Marvel with the team. The team also includes Gemma Chan's Dr. Minerva, a longtime foe of Captain Marvel in the comics. And of course, we can see Ronan the Accuser and Korath the Pursuer from Guardians of the Galaxy. Ronan the Accuser isn't just a nickname. Accuser is a rank. They're kind of like a judge, jury, and executioner for the Kree Empire. Think Judge Dredd in space. I am the law! Now what's interesting is that when we meet Ronan in Guardians of the Galaxy, he's already had a break from the Kree Empire after they signed a peace treaty with Xandar. But in this film, he'll probably still be serving the Kree Empire, and we'll get to see whatever caused him to break from the government. And something similar to this happens in the comics as well, where Ronan rebels and briefly takes control of the Empire from the Supreme Intelligence. And by the way, the Supreme Intelligence is potentially the weirdest character ever introduced in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He's a giant head who rules the Empire and is composed of the collective intelligence of the smartest Kree who have ever lived. Anyways, the synopsis goes on to say, but before long, Carol finds herself back on Earth with new questions about her past. Now, I find this interesting because maybe Carol doesn't really remember her time on Earth because of some kind of Kree brainwashing. Actor Kenneth Mitchell's been rumored to play Joseph Danvers, who's Carol's abusive father, or he could be playing Joseph Danvers Jr., her brother. So maybe these new questions about her past are more personal rather than professional. And the article goes on to say she has a formidable enemy in the form of the Skrulls, the notorious baddies made all the more dangerous by their shape-shifting abilities. Now this is right in line with the synopsis that says Earth is caught in the middle of a galactic war between two alien races. This is referring to the Kree-Skrull War, an epic Avengers story from the 1970s. In that story, the Kree and Skrulls are only interested in Earth to keep the other side from acquiring it. And I think the movie might be taking a similar approach. So it seems to me that Carol must have acquired her powers sometime in the mid to late 1980s and then she left the planet to become a space cop. And now that the Skrulls have taken an interest in the planet, the Kree Empire have decided to send Carol to investigate. because you know she's from Earth and she knows it pretty well. As I mentioned before, Samuel L. Jackson appears in the film as a younger version of Nick Fury. The Entertainment Weekly article says he's still a two-eyed S.H.I.E.L.D. desk jockey. You can see in this released photo that he still has two eyes, but he has a bandage over the eye that will eventually go blind. A little bit of foreshadowing. Now this is not a surprise. We already knew that Nick Fury was going to meet Captain Marvel because of the Infinity War post-credits scene. But now it kind of seems like that dealing with all of these intergalactic threats kind of made Nick Fury's career. And this explains why he was kind of unfazed when aliens started appearing on Earth, and his famous post-credits scene in Iron Man.
You think you're the only superhero in the world?
And there is also this photo that shows Carol Danvers rocking a 9-inch nail shirt and a hat sporting the original S.H.I.E.L.D. logo. In a previous video, we talked about how Cull Obsidian in Infinity War has a piece of Captain Marvel's costume hanging from his belt. And I have a whole theory about how this could tie into the Mind Stone and where Captain Marvel's been for the past 20 years. If you're interested, please check that video out. And if you're new here, please subscribe. For Screen Crush, I'm Ryan Airy.